Hey, 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 good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. It's actually afternoon for me right now. I hope you're doing well. It's Nigerian XJW Speaks here, otherwise known as Chigo. I feel like I'm out of practice because obviously I wasn't here last week. I hope you're having a good week. So if you watch me here, you'd know that we were moving house last weekend, and so I was AWOL, but the move is all done. We are in the new place and I am loving it. I didn't get around to show you the place while it was empty because it was full on. It was full on. I think maybe moving house and not having any time off from working is probably not a good idea. I know, crazy. So if I'm moving next time, and that's a big if, because I am not moving for a few years. I will do everything I can to not have to move for a few years time because it's a lot, and I think we're going to be happy here. I have high hopes and I'm loving it so far. But if you still do want to see, I don't know, well, I'll be comfortable showing, like just show around, let me know and I'll see what I can show you around. But it's a much bigger space, and I have a dedicated room for work, recording, and all of that good stuff. Still on my phone though, but there we go. That is the intro. Okay, so I thought I'll jump back in with, this is a personal one. It's taking some time to think about how to share it. And, I keep hoping that either my family don't watch my channel, or maybe when they do, it's at a point where we are probably more aligned and on the same place. I know that is being really hopeful, but it is all part of sharing the journey of moving away from being in a high control religion like the witnesses. And part of that is also finding my voice. Finding my voice, not just in the walking away, but in the explaining, or at least being willing or being bold enough to say, right, this is why I have left. I mean, if any of you are, from an African sort of background, parents are like demigods, and so I will put in the title somehow to show that this is related to a conversation that I had with my dad this week, and it was a bit of a roller coaster of things. You can see the tree behind me. I cannot wait for the summer when we're going to have leaves, and at the moment it's bare because it's nearly winter. I hope the lighting is okay. Let me know what the lighting's like. I'm not facing the sun directly because it's just, too much, so I've got my back to it, but hopefully the lighting is okay. This is me stalling. Okay, I've made some notes as well, just so I make sure I cover everything. So I had a conversation with my dad earlier this week, and sort of in two parts. We came to an agreement of sort of an understanding, maybe like, I don't know, a year ago, something like that, or maybe 18 months, as I was going through the journey of doing research and looking through the history of the organization and feeling all those emotions. I have a video that I talked about all of the emotions that I felt during that process, the anger, the fury, all of it. Sort of around that time, there was a sort of agreement that we're not going to talk about religion. I didn't go into too much detail at that point. So this week, we were having this conversation. He tried to reach me. Sorry, I shouldn't make the screen move. I'm just putting my feet up. So trying to get through to me, and he wanted to celebrate the fact that he has just been reinstated as an elder. Now, this is new information to me. I didn't know that there was anything had gone wrong with his eldership. And apparently, he had to step down as an elder because my sister decided to live on campus for university rather than live at home. And so he had to step down as an elder because, in his words, it's hard for him to keep an eye on her when he's on campus. And so for what she could potentially be doing wrong, because the oversight of the parents weren't there. So because of the potential that she could be doing something wrong, let us just preemptively remove you as an elder. Oh my goodness. This is where we are now. That is the level of control that this organization now has. I don't know if they can pull stuff like that in a country like the UK. I don't know if they can get away with stuff like that, because there's not very many students that sort of live at home and go into uni. That was just mind-blowing. So if he was, because I've had this conversation with you before. My dad wasn't born into the religion. He came in as an adult. And so he has family members who are not there. There's more of a familiarity with one, dealing with people who are not witnesses, but also he understands how do I put this? Opportunities that education avails to you in a country like Nigeria, where there's not many ways to get out of the grind. There's not many ways to lift yourself up. And education is, if not the only way, one of the key ways of basically not living hand to mouth. And when I say hand to mouth, it's not like hand to mouth here. Hand to mouth as in you make the money today, you spend it today, and you go out the next day hoping to hustle some more, right? Having an education, a university education, is, if not the only, the few ways to come out of that. And he has people in his family that have gone through uni and what that has done for them. So if he was, and this is not to diss on her, if it was exactly the same as my mom, that would be my sister either not even going to university at all, but being made to live at home and have that commute. That just makes things stressful day in, day out. And so that was the price that he had to pay for his daughter getting an education the way that was efficient, which was living on campus. And he was preemptively punished for that. She just graduated, and there is a national youth service that every Nigerian graduate has to do. You have to do a national service for 1 year, and they call it the NYSC, the National Youth Service Corps it stands for. So she's just gone on that. And now they're satisfied that she has completed the degree. There's been no scandal, so that she's made it out. My son's come in the room, he's playing, and we are in this room doubles as a playroom, so if you hear any fiddling in the background, that's what it is, but we're not showing your face. I know. Oh, good. So he was preemptively disciplined for that. She's finished now. They've satisfied that she's done the however many years course scandal-free, and now you can come back as an elder. And he was celebrating that. And what I'm thinking is, no expletives. I generally do not swear in public, but I was thinking, who the hell do these people think they are? Who on earth do they think they are? How does an adult let themselves be controlled like this? Because I know how much privilege means to these people. Okay, so that could have really gone either way. So if you have any experience of people being preemptively punished for what their child might do because they're out of sight, they're not able to control them that much, let me know. Is this a new thing? I know that when I was back there was a family, well, not quite the same. I think that for this family, the child that had gone to uni actually did something, whatever that is. You can guess. It's always sexual immorality. It's that all the time. Preemptively asking him to step down as an elder because his daughter is going to uni and something could happen. Absolutely bizarre. So that was the first half of that conversation. He then proceeds to tell me that now that he's back as an elder, he needs to now he now has to get back into taking the lead in things like that. And because of our old friend COVID, of course, meetings are still on Zoom. And so he has to now take more of an active role in making the provision available. And currently he doesn't have a smartphone or a computer. He would like to have that, one or the other, because at the moment my sister's back now, and so it's like she is there right now waiting to be called for the youth service. And so when she's around, she has a smartphone. You can use her phone to log into the meetings. When she's not there, they're concerned that they're not going to be able to access the meetings anymore. And then, of course, there's the issue of data, which is not readily available in the amounts that you need to have a whole Zoom meeting. And so this man, who is nearly 70, is now stressing himself about he has to get this thing, he has to readily have the data, because I don't know, are they still meeting twice a week? Whatever else the organization is going to be having them do with internet. And now he's now stressing about getting this because he wants to stay involved. And the most heartbreaking part of it, when I started to challenge this and say, this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They understand that they have members in developing countries who a smartphone, a laptop, access to endless amounts of data is not something that is readily available to everyone. If they want their members to continue dialing in, plugging in, continue the indoctrination, the least they can do is make it available and not put pressure on this sort of people. And if they are unable to do it, there are consequences. And he goes into defending them. And like I said, the heartbreaking bit was when he said, no, then they're not, forcing me to. They're not saying that I have to. But of course, if I'm not getting spiritual food, my life is on the line. My father thinks his life is on the line if he's not plugging into what 8 men in New York have to say. He actually believes that. And that was heartbreaking. It's upsetting just to think about it. I got upset on the phone as well. Of course you know this. When you've grown up in it, you know that they tell you that your life is on the line. But it's different hearing it in a one-to-one conversation. As someone who is having to contort themselves to try and keep listening to this group of men, because he thinks his life is on the line if he doesn't listen. And when I shared how heartbreaking that was, he seemed shocked. I can't speak. He seemed shocked, and it was like, have you forgotten already? Oh, come on, have you forgotten? As if it's just a given. It's just a given that I should know that his life is on the line. So completely believes it. You may have heard me talk about Ezekiel being one of his favorite scriptures. And I can't remember the chapter or verse now. If I can remember it, I'll put it on the screen. Where it says that if you don't speak to someone wicked, they will die for their sins, but their blood will be asked back from your hands. But if you've warned them and they refuse, then your hands are clean. And so that's one of these scriptures he used to quote a lot. So he taking that further, he actually believes that his life literally depends on being able to go on Zoom week in, week out. Something that is not readily affordable for him. It's very sad. It's very sad. I'll try and have these conversations. These people have money. If they're that bothered, they have the money. They can make laptops, devices with data available for their members in places like this where they can't do it. If they can pay millions and millions of dollars in fines because they're trying to cover up horrific abuses that go on within their religion, they can provide smart devices and data for their members whose lives apparently depend on this. And you're trying to have this conversation, and he's telling me about, they help, they build kingdom halls for people that can't afford to build kingdom halls. I'm like, well, that's the least they can do. They run on donations. They are literally not working for any of the money they have. It's people donating globally to them. The least they can do is build the house. And I think I was trying to get into the conversation of a change that happened maybe last year, where people that were paying off Kingdom House, they stepped in and like, oh, don't worry, we'll take the rest of it. You just pay the money to us instead for the mortgages. And by the way, there's no end to that. You just keep paying. And then they sell off Kingdom Halls and they merge them and people have to travel further. It's the least they can do. So just hearing him defend them, believing that his life was on the line, that was just so sad. So sad. And you may or may not know, it is common and very normal in African cultures for adults, children to financially support their parents. Nothing special there. It happens. And my concern is trying to make it quite clear. If I send something, that's for you. That's for things that you need, things that have tangible benefit, your well-being, things that you need. The worry is that that's now going to be rerouted to getting things, darling, that's quite loud, to stay plugged in to this 8 men in New York. So I try to make my feelings clear. I do, of course, I can't control what he does with that, but he's going to use that towards that, to the detriment of money that he's going to spend on his medication, and whatever else. This is a level of control, and this is a smart man, not silly by any stretch of the imagination at all, but just to hear the level of control. It's incredibly sad. I really don't know where to go with this. I think I've covered everything. I think I've covered everything, but this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with here. I'm going to leave that one there, but that was just incredibly sad from this week. And there's another story which I'm sure you've heard about, but maybe talk about it next week. The case in the UK with the 15-year-olds who had to have a blood transfusion, but we can talk about it, because I think actually next week it will be the last Sunday of the month, I think. So we'll have a live stream like we do every last Sunday of the month. And I will I'll create an event so you can have a reminder and come and join me for this. But at times like this, every day, I look at my son and I say, thank goodness I left this cult before I had him roped into that, sucked into that. The thought of someone thinking that their life depends on listening to a bunch of men in New York is incredibly sad. But I'm going to leave it there and go calm down, get us some lunch, and there's still a few bits of unpacking to do, but for the most part, it's done. It's been quite efficient this time around. Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear from you. Any of you experienced, like I said, this sort of preemptive discipline? And if you have any family members in countries where data and internet is not as readily available, how are any family members you have managing that? Even in places where it's available, I don't know that everybody is set up for unlimited data, So yeah. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to put some videos here for you to watch next. If you've watched this far and you haven't subscribed, why not? Please do so. Give the video a thumbs up if it resonated. Share it if you think there's someone that needs to hear this, because sometimes it's good to hear something from somewhere else, and just let's get our priorities straight. If it was any other circumstances, would it be okay to think that your life depends on listening to a bunch of men who have absolutely no way to prove that they have any direct chain, any direct line of communication to a divine being? And if you take the things that you do see, it just doesn't add up. So it's incredibly heartbreaking that this is what happens. Grown adult humans believing things like this. Can you tell? It's really... Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Have a good rest of the week. Thank you for listening to me go over this. I hope the background noise has not been too bad. We'll have to figure out a time to record that the boy is not playing. Okay. Speak to you soon. I feel like I'm rambling now. Look after yourself.